Hi, this is a brief overview of the new integrated ventilator screens in REALITi version 11. What I have here is 3 iPad screens. I have the control screen, and I've connected this to an iPad which is showing the new Hamilton T1 ventilator, and then I've connected an additional monitor screen to the T1 ventilator, chosen the GE CareScape screen to act as our vital signs monitor. So there's a couple of things that you need to do when using these new ventilator screens. First of all, I'm going to go into scenario information. So this has got the usual settings that we can see here, but if I scroll down, I can see that there's some new parameters here in terms of patient sex, age category, patient age, height and weight. To allow an integrated ventilator to work appropriately, REALITi needs to know what type of patient is being ventilated. This is important because the REALITi needs to understand the lung model that's being used for the appropriate sex, age, height and weight, so that various numbers can be calculated, such as compliance, resistance, lung volumes and so on. It's very easy to change these settings. We have an age category, so adult, pediatric and neonate, and you can see that the age, height and weight change appropriately. If we go back to pediatric, we can change the age here, and you can see that the height and weight change automatically. The height is also auto-calculated for the age, but of course you can change that as you want, and it will actually work out the ideal weight for that height. We recommend you use that ideal weight for the height, but of course you can change it if you want to. For neonate, also note that you can go to preterm infants as well. For adult, you actually have to set the height, because that will allow REALITi to calculate the ideal weight. So in this circumstance, we've gone for a female adult, 27 years of age, 167 centimeters, given an ideal weight of 60 kilograms. So let's get started and run the ventilator. I'm going to press start, and now I'm going to press start ventilation on the Hamilton T1, and now I'm going to actually connect the ventilator. So I did that by going into the ventilator tab and selecting connect ventilator. What you will now see is that the SpO2 and the end tidal CO2 and respiratory rate changed as the ventilator was connected. Currently the ventilator is ventilating it with a tidal volume of 560 mils at a rate of 12. And we can see that here in the controls. For a 60 kilo patient, this might be a bit of overventilation, as we can see that the end tidal CO2 is a bit low at 31. So I'm going to change the tidal volume. I'm going to bring that down to 500. Press confirm. And now what we should notice is that the end tidal CO2 gradually starts to increase to a more appropriate level of 35. So let's do something a bit more. Let's now change the patient's lung condition. We can do that by tapping on the center of the end tidal CO2 dial, and we can now see a new waveform picker with patient lung condition. We have a normal lung, which is currently selected, but as you can see, there's a choice of ARDS, asthma, COPD, COVID, and fibrosis. And each of them has a different level in terms of mild, moderate, and severe. There's also our legacy waveforms here, which you will all know from previous versions of REALITi. So let's go for moderate ARDS. Let's select that and press send. You'll now see that there's an immediate change in the SpO2 as we're now ventilating an ARDS lung. You'll also see changes in the ventilator waveforms because the pressures have increased. But that pressure increase, I think I need to change that, so I'm going to change the mode of ventilation. So let's go in here and change it to a pressure control ventilation and press confirm. I'm happy with those numbers at the moment. I'm just going to press confirm and see what happens. Because the pressure waveform is now different, that means that our tidal volume has now decreased, and what we see is an appropriate increase in the end tidal CO2. However, more importantly for this patient, our SpO2 still has not increased. So let's do something about that. Let's increase the oxygen. Let's put that up to 60% and confirm. And I think we need to increase the PEEP as well. Let's put that up to 8. So with those two changes, we can now see that our saturations are now coming up. However, what you may hear there is the low minute volume ventilation alarm on the Hamilton T1. That's because our PEEP has increased, but our delta P has not increased. So let's increase our delta P. I'm going to put that up to 20 and press confirm. So we should now see that our pressure waveform increases, our tidal volume increases, and so has our minute volume, and we will now start to see the end tidal CO2 start to come down as well. To assist with that, I'm going to change the rate. So I can go in here and change the rate and put that up to 14 and press confirm. Now all of those controls have been done via the T1 screen, but I can also control the ventilator via the control iPad. I do that by tapping on the ventilator tab, and I can now see some generic ventilator controls here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the pressure. I'm going to bring that down to 26. I'm also going to increase the rate up to 16, and I'm going to press send. That has had some immediate changes onto the Hamilton T1 screen. That's now reduced our peak pressure, it's increased our frequency, and it's kept our end tidal CO2 at around about 36. So what you can see here in REALITi version 11 with the integrated ventilator is a complete system that allows you to ventilate different patients in terms of age, sex, height and weight. Also to ventilate different lung conditions, and by doing that, the vital signs on the REALITi system, specifically SpO2, end tidal CO2 and rate, will change appropriately according to the patient lung condition and to the settings on the ventilator.